Welcome to Power Up Memphis. I'm Gale Carson, your host, and my guest today is the president of Memphis Light Gas and Water, J.T. Young. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Today we're going to be talking about the proposed 2019 budget increase that has been presented to our board and also to the MLGW Utility Committee, City Council's Utility Committee. So can you just kind of like walk us through the process of our budgeting, how it works, so people can have an understanding of how we even come up with the suggestions that we make?
Well, sure. One of the things that I thought when I noticed when I came here was I wanted to make sure that as we went through the budget process, is that we were looking at ways to be efficient. So we had several rounds of what we call budget review committee meetings. And I believe that was a previous practice, but it was helpful for me because I asked a lot of questions so that I could just learn more about what was going on around the company. And in that budget review process, each area brought the things that they felt were important, and we would scrutinize those, ask difficult questions, find out what efficiencies we've gained before we look for things to add. So we went through that process, which took about a month and a half or so of sessions to 2 months. And once that was done, our financial group pulled everything together into one budget because we went by each division, electric, gas, and water. And in each area of each division, they pulled all that together and came up with a request. One caveat, one little twist we did this time was while we were looking at the 2019 budget, we looked at a 5-year horizon for needs from a capital investment perspective. And over that 5-year horizon, we decided that we needed to make some major investments. So we looked beyond just 2019, and we looked out for the next 5 years to decide how could we make improvements. And I asked everyone to really make sure we kept the theme of this year's budget and rate plan to the areas of customer value, modernization, quality, and reliability. And as we looked at those 4 descriptive themes, it kind of helped push the notion of what we're trying to do to bring our customers more value.
Okay, so when you start saying looking at investments, what kind of investments?
So when we talk about investments, we're talking about predominantly infrastructure-related investments. So those would be investments that we believe, based on history and based on what we know we need to do, those investments will improve, for example, reduce outage times. So when a customer's power is out, by making some additional investments for automation to help modernize our electric system, we can reduce the length of time that most of our customers are out. And in our water pumping stations, for example, we need to make some investments in the infrastructure to modernize that infrastructure so that we can make sure that our water productivity is where it needs to be for all of our customers. So when we talk about investments, we're generally talking about capital investments that we need to make on a system which has a lot of old infrastructure that needs to be replaced.
When you say old, how old?
Well, for example, I gave this example to the City Council yesterday. The average age of our water pumping station is 57 years old.
Wow.
And so what that tells me is that we have some risk out there. In particular, we have about 130 wells, and we have some wells that need to be redone. We have refurbished a couple of our pumping stations. We have about 10 of them, so we still have a ways to go, and we still have some more work that we need to do. But that's just to give you an idea. On our electric side, we have some substation equipment that's north of 50, 60 years old. And so we have found that while that equipment can last for a while, I think that MLGW has been very, very frugal and has done a great job extending the life of a lot of our infrastructure. So I commend our team for doing a great job of that.
So when you say they've done a good job of extending the life, is it like pretty much putting Band-Aids on a situation, but at some point you got to buy new stuff. Like, I used my Thunderbird that I love to death. I kept spending money on it and trying to repair it, but then at some point, Ford's no longer making parts for my car, and I got to replace it. Yeah,
so it's similar to that. I think that's a great analogy, and I also say, for example, it's like a home or some place of business. At some point, wear and tear can't just be Band-Aided. You have to actually make an investment to make some upgrades. You have to eventually replace your air conditioning system. You can only put Freon in it for so long. At some point, you've got to get a new air conditioning system. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about, is that over time, you're going to have to replace certain pieces of equipment and certain infrastructure if we expect to have the type of reliability that I believe our customers want.
So should we get the proposed increases that we've made to the City Council? Will customers, how long would it be before they can see a change in our service, a change in our infrastructure?
Well, part of our plan is that we would, if approved by the City Council, we'd like to, within the first quarter of 2019, begin some of these upgrades, even though rate effects that we've requested don't take effect until July of 2019. We'd actually like to, through a bond issue, if we could, get started a little bit earlier, because again, our infrastructure plan includes a combination of bond issues and rate actions. And if we can get the bond issue done early in the year, we would like to go ahead and start making some of the upgrades in the beginning of the year. We just keep in mind, we want everybody to remember it's a 5-year plan.
5-year, yeah.
It's a plan that is designed. If we get 5 years out and look back, we expect to see outage minutes reduced by 50%.
Oh, great.
So I always remind customers that we're going to always have outages just because of the nature of what we do. But we're trying to make some significant steps. We're going to automate our electric system from about 5% to 85%, which means that it should shorten the length of time that customers are out. And many times, the switching will occur, so the customers will never know that there were issues.
So what kind of rate increase are we talking about over a 5-year period? Because I've watched the news, and I've seen different things out there, which I know is not what I've heard inside the company or actually presented to our board or the council. So over a 5-year period, on average, what kind of increase would our customers see?
Well, the action that our board took in approving our rate plan and budget, over a 5-year period, customers on average should see about a 2% per year compounded annual growth rate for their cost. And so essentially, if you took all the gas, electric, and water costs for the average customer, and if you put into your budget about a 2% increase over a 5-year period, that's about what you would see. Now, of course, we're only asking for rate action to occur in July of 19 and also July of 21.
Okay.
Another important thing to remember is that we have asked the City Council and our board approve that in the event that we see greater financial performance than we anticipate in any given year, the following year we will provide a credit to our customers in recognition of that. And so that's to help offset maybe some of that increase. But it's, again, very, very important that we get started. And I always tell customers that to the extent that we don't get what we're asking, or that we delay, the reliability is not going to get better on its own. The Band-Aids that we're putting on our system will not improve our water production. So we're going to have to make some investments.
Okay, so when we start talking 2%, can you give us a dollar amount?
Sure.
An average for dollar amount? Some customers may better understand.
Yeah. So
dollars. So
if you think about it, the increase in 2019 that we've projected, on average, is a little less than $9 per month per customer. In 2021, it's about a $7 per month average, again, beginning in July of both of those years. So if you took those numbers and just looked at over the course of the year what an average bill is and what those increases are projected to be, and stretch it out over a 5-year horizon, that's how you can come up with the 2%. So you can take those numbers I just gave you and bake it into a monthly average bill, And then if you look at all those costs over a 5-year horizon, you'll see that there's about a 2% increase per year on average.
Okay, but if we don't get an increase, so basically, you know, many of our customers are concerned about the length of the outages that we're having, and if we don't get an increase, then we can't improve the time that we can restore services.
Right, but what I'll tell customers is we have folks that are very dedicated to working hard. They'll do their best, but I want to make sure we manage customer expectations so that they understand that we don't anticipate that they will get any better.
Okay.
And in fact, we project that reliability will get a little bit worse just because of the nature of our system. So I want everybody to understand it's not an easy thing to do. We've done things for years to help make things better. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to minimize the time that customers are out or that they have challenges with their system. But that's just kind of where we see it.
Okay, so we do want our customers to know that through the budget process that we've done all the belt tightening and efficiencies that we can do to make this proposed increase as small as possible.
Right, and that's the reason we also added the credit option that we're talking about, that we will credit customers back to the extent that our performance exceeds what we anticipated, because 5 years is a long time. So what we've said is, look, we'll take all the, if there's any downside risk, we own that. But if our performance exceeds what we expected, then the following year we will credit our customers that same amount. So because we're looking for efficiencies all the time, so to the extent that we find efficiencies or we have revenue that comes in that exceeds our expectations in any given year, that's what we're trying to look to help and provide back to our customers.
Well, I mean, we don't have much time left, but there has been a proposal on the table where a company wants to come in and save Memphis Light, Gas, and Water customers $487 million. Is that possible?
Well, what I would say about that particular proposal is that we're continuing to look at that, and we're looking at other options as well. We have a study ongoing now that we look to have the results from in December. I would say that we have a lot of questions about the way that number was calculated. And at this point, it's very, very difficult to guarantee any savings because of the nature in which that proposal was brought. The proposal that you spoke about doesn't, the unit that they brought to the table doesn't provide all the needs that we have. We would have to supplement the needs for energy with other sources, which they've included in their proposal. But again, the estimate that they've provided on savings is something that we must take a much deeper look at.
Okay, so, well, we're coming to an end of the show today. And is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers, our customers, before we leave?
Just want to let you know we appreciate the privilege we have to serve you. And I think our customers, we're honored to be here to serve our customers. And actually, one of the things we've talked to all our employees about is that everyone's in the business of customer service. And we're going to be working very diligently over these next several months and years to make sure that we continue to improve the value that we provide to improve their customer experiences. So we appreciate the business, we appreciate the opportunity and the privilege to serve them.
Okay, thank you very much, President Young, for coming on and sharing information about our budget, for our proposed budget for 2019. Thank you.
Thank you.